One question in that conversation really stopped me. She asked, why do we Catholics say Mary is a virgin when the Bible says Jesus has 4 brothers? And that question, it bothered me for years. It was as though it pulled up all the old confusion I had about Mary growing up. And then I realized I wasn't the only one. Some days ago, while chatting with some undergraduates preparing for the Immaculate Conception novena, that same old question resurfaced. If someone had told me these 3 things, I think my confusion about Mary would have cleared years sooner. And maybe someone out there is exactly where I was. So here they are, simply and clearly. When the angel called her full of grace, he wasn't trying to be poetic, he meant it. Mary's Immaculate Conception is the source of the special privilege God chose to grant her. It means God in His mercy chose to grant her salvation in advance, before she was even born, and before Christ became man. Christ came into the world sinless. The church has always understood that the vessel through which He took His flesh would also be preserved from sin, not by her own power, but by Christ's future sacrifice applied to her beforehand. It's like God wrapped her in the grace Christ would later bring to all of us, and so she became the first fruits of the salvation He came to accomplish. Luke 23:53 says that Jesus was laid in a tomb no one had ever been laid. This wasn't by chance. Think about it. If God chose a completely untouched tomb for His Son's resting place at death, it would make perfect sense that His first dwelling place on earth, Mary's womb, was also uniquely set apart. Never used before, never used after. A space God entered in His incarnation. A space made holy. That is the heart of Mary's perpetual virginity. And it's so beautiful when you see the pattern. This question used to tie my head in knots. If Jesus had younger brothers, why didn't He commit Mary to any of them? Here is the thing. In Hebrew, there is no separate word for cousin, nephew, uncle, and so on. Every relative is called brother or sister. And even in my culture, cousins and close relatives are addressed the same way. So those brothers of Jesus were extended family, but not His biological siblings. But the real evidence is in the logic. If Jesus died at 33 and supposedly had 4 younger brothers, the second son would have been at least in his early 20s, strong enough, old enough, able enough. Because honestly, if Jesus had a 24-year-old brother, or even a teenage one, why give Mary to most probably a teenage apostle? It just doesn't add up. But if Jesus was Mary's only child, then what He did with John makes perfect sense. And that lines up with what Christians had believed from the beginning. Besides, I don't believe Mary would have left her 4 sons to go live with an apostle. So yeah, these are 3 things I wish someone told me earlier. They cleared up a lot of confusion I carried for years, and they make Mary feel less like a debate topic and more like a gift Jesus gives to all of us. If this helped you even a little, feel free to share with anyone or someone preparing for the Feast of Immaculate Conception. And I would also like to know which part stood out to you. Let's talk in the comments.